All right, today we're going to shrink ourselves down way smaller than a speck of dust to explore this incredible world of movement that's happening inside your body right this second. So let's dive in.
Think about the last time you got a paper cut. It seems so simple, doesn't it? It just heals. But have you ever stopped to wonder how that actually happens? What's really going on to orchestrate that amazing repair?
Well, the answer isn't magic, but honestly, it's just as amazing. It all kicks off with the mobilization of this silent, totally invisible army.
An army of these tireless microscopic movers, all of them with a single critical mission.
And the battlefield? It's not out there somewhere. It's inside every single one of your cells. That healing process is powered by a whole symphony of coordinated movement at a scale that we can barely even imagine.
So this incredible ability for a cell to get up and go has a name. It's called cell motility. And it's this beautifully complex microscopic choreography that quite simply keeps you alive.
So what this really boils down to is a cell's fundamental ability to move around. And it's not random, it's a deliberate action. It's powered by an internal skeleton made of protein fibers, and it's fueled by ATP, the universal energy currency for all life.
And what's pretty wild is that different cells have evolved their own unique ways to get around, kind of like microscopic specialists. I mean, just look at this. Your white blood cells crawl around like an amoeba, hunting down invaders. Sperm cells are these powerful swimmers using a whip-like tail for propulsion. And the cells lining your lungs have thousands of tiny sweeping hairs called cilia to constantly clear out gunk. It's this dynamic microscopic ballet happening inside you right now.
Okay, so if our cells are the dancers, what's actually powering all this incredible activity? Let's zoom in one more level. Let's head into the engine room and meet the tiny robots that make it all possible.
And these are the motor proteins. They are, quite literally, molecular machines. Their whole job is to take the chemical energy stored in ATP and convert it into pure mechanical force, into actual physical movement. They are the true engines of the cell.
And this slide just nails it, right? Imagine these microscopic highways made of protein strands that crisscross the inside of your cells. These motor proteins are like tiny robots with legs, purposefully walking along these highways, carrying precious cargo and pulling the cell's internal structures right into place.
So how do they walk? Well, it's a really simple, elegant three-step cycle. First, a motor protein binds to an ATP molecule. That's it, fueling up. That burst of energy causes one of its legs to change shape and swing forward, taking a step. Then it releases that spent energy, and it's all set to grab the next ATP molecule and do it all over again, just striding tirelessly along its protein track.
All right, so now that we know the basic mechanics, let's meet the cast of characters. There are 3 superstar motor proteins that pretty much run the whole show inside most of our cells.
First up, you've got myosin, the master of muscle contraction. Then there's kinesin, which is kind of like the long-haul trucker carrying cargo from the cell's center outwards. And its partner, dyene, which handles all the inbound traffic, bringing things back home.
Okay, let's kick things off with myosin. If these proteins were on a team, myosin would be the strongman, no question. Its most famous job by far is powering every single one of your muscle movements, from a tiny heartbeat to a full-on sprint.
So, myosin works on a specific type of protein highway called an actin filament. Just picture these as thin, flexible ropes inside your muscle cells. The best way to think about it is a huge team of hands pulling on that rope. Thousands of these little myosin heads grab the actin rope, pull, let go, and then grab again, causing the entire muscle fiber to shorten and contract.
All right, next up is kinesin. Think of this protein as the cell's dedicated delivery truck. Its main job is to pick up packages, like little vesicles filled with vital stuff, from the cell's central hub and transport them all the way out to the edges. Its journey is super precise. It latches onto its cargo, then it starts that classic hand-over-hand walk along a different kind of highway called a microtubule. These are like the cell's major freeways. They're rigid, hollow tubes that give the cell structure. Step by step, kinesin moves steadily outward until it reaches its destination and makes the delivery.
And for every outbound delivery truck, you've got to have a return shuttle, right? Well, that's dyene. Its job is the exact opposite of kinesin's. It picks up materials, like cellular waste or used parts, from the cell's edge and brings them back inward, toward the center.
And this inward trip is so important.
Dynein is like the cell's master organizer and recycler. It helps break down old parts, but it also plays this huge starring role when a cell divides, where it helps pull the massive chromosomes into their correct spots, making sure each new cell gets a perfect copy.
So here's the really critical part. The microtubule highway has a clear direction. Think of the cell center as like downtown, and the edges the suburbs. Kinesin only travels one way, outward, on the road leading to what's called the plus end. And dynein only travels the other way, inward, back toward the cell center, or the minus end. This strict one-way system creates a perfectly organized two-way traffic network that prevents total chaos inside the cell.
Okay, so we've met these amazing tiny robots, and we've seen how they work. But let's pull back for a second. Let's zoom out. Why does all of this tiny, tiny traffic actually matter in our big, macroscopic world?
Because when this perfectly tuned system breaks down, the consequences are just devastating. For instance, if your myosin proteins are faulty, they just can't generate that strong pulling force on the actin ropes, and that leads directly to the progressive weakness of muscular dystrophy. Or if dynein is defective, it can't power the little cilia in our airways to sweep out mucus, causing chronic breathing problems. In sperm cells, it means the tail can't whip, which leads to infertility. It's a direct link from one tiny broken part to a life-altering condition.
To put it as simply as possible, this system is absolutely essential for you to be alive. Without these little motor proteins, your immune cells couldn't chase down bacteria. That paper cut you got would never, ever heal. You couldn't even blink your eyes.
So the big takeaway here is that our bodies are, in a very real way, run by billions and billions of tiny biological robots. It's just an incredible thing to think about, and it leaves us with this huge, fascinating question for the future. What happens next? What becomes possible for medicine if we can finally learn how to give these tiny robots new directions?